All right, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Trooper Transmission. This is CT3939, and today we're going to be breaking down the top 5 moments, my top 5 moments of Star Wars in 2022. So let's dive right on into it. First thing is we're just going to cover real quick the release content, and I really broke this into the main Star Wars content, not getting into necessarily like comic books or anything really niche like that. But you have the Book of Boba Fett, which came out at the beginning. Star Wars Celebration, I felt like it was a big content moment for a lot of creators, a lot of fans, and we had a ton of news coming out of there. I think it was just a big time for anyone who's excited about what was coming, specifically Obi-Wan Kenobi at the time. Then you have Tales of the Jedi and Andor. So real quick, what was your favorite moment of 2022? Drop it down below in the comments. Obviously, this is my opinion, and I'm trying to be as positive as possible with all of this. So if you're going to go in the comments and just complain, this is not the channel. This is not the video for that. There's plenty of places for that. We're going to keep it positive. We're going to focus on the good, what we can't control, and that is the things that we consume. So comment below. What is your favorite moment, favorite moments, favorite episode, favorite scene of Star Wars content from 2022? And let me know too what you're excited about in 2023, because we got a lot of great stuff starting. As we got Bad Batch season 2 starting January 4th. So we'll definitely be covering that on lives as well. But let's dive into this. First and foremost, we've got the Book of Boba Fett. Number 5, I think it was of all the content, the weakest overall, but there were still some amazing moments in that as well. So honorable mentions, you've got Luke and Grogu, that episode, those scenes where you have Luke, training Grogu and Ahsoka in that as well. I thought was just some of the best Star Wars that I've seen, because it ties in so many great things from the original trilogy, from the Clone Wars, some of the most loved characters in all of the mythology. Then you have the N1 ship that gets made from Peleimoto and Mando, and just seeing him blast off when those two Republic, we'll just call them police officers, are like, hey, you sound a little bit familiar, and he's like, yeah, I'm just gonna hit the NOS and just go. Seeing that was awesome. Seeing Baby Yoda in the back of that thing was awesome as well. And then you have the finale when Boba Fett rides the Rancor. I thought that was sweet. I thought that was awesome. But I don't think anything for me beat the moment that I realized that this man right here was getting his live action debut. And so in this, I'm just going to pull up a quick little video that hopefully we should be able to listen to that will show what we saw in that moment. So let's see what we got here. We'll pull it up. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. Cad Bane shoots the Marshal.
I'd be careful where I was sticking my nose if I were.
Please definitely blasts away the deputy as well. I love that part. I thought that part was just so fun. And for me, that was the top moment of Book of Boba Fett. Obviously, a lot of other cool moments, but for me, like I said, that one was. Boom. All right. So next for me, we've got Star Wars Celebration. So this, like I mentioned, wasn't a specific show or movie, obviously. But there's a ton of content, a ton of experiences that you could go see if you were lucky enough to go there in Anaheim. I was able to go there for a day, and we were able to see, a lot of really cool things. I can't stick around for long. Just want to say, love your videos. Cool Aussie Star Wars nerd. Andor episode 10 was the best thing of the year in his opinion. Yeah. And he's definitely tying into some of the things that I'll be getting to a little bit later. But Aussie Star Wars nerd, thanks for watching. Comment below. I'm guessing Australia where you're watching this from, but let me know where you're from. And yeah, we'll follow along. So Star Wars Celebration, as I was saying, was an opportunity to really connect with a lot of fans. I saw some of the coolest things that I've seen as a Star Wars fan. And this was actually the moment when I was able to complete my helmet signature from all my Clone Wars actors. So I was able to get D. Bradley Baker here, and then on the back side got Sam Witwer as well. Earlier in the month, I was able to check out ICC Con in Nashville and got some additional signatures as well from Ashley Eckstein, Matt Lanter, and Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anna Graves as well. So James Arnold Taylor. So my moments here that I thought were just awesome. Obviously, you had Harrison Ford and John Williams, his 90th birthday, leading the orchestra. I thought that was amazing. You have this moment here with Ashley Eckstein when she was able, David Eckstein, Ashley Eckstein. So she was leading the panel, and it was, I thought it was so cool when she's like, "What up, Sky Guy?" And that was the first time I was listening to a podcast with her on Rebel Force Radio, and that was the first time that she had met him. She had never got a chance to meet him. That was her first interaction with him, and I thought that was just a really cool story and a really cool moment for Star Wars fans to just be able to really bring back Hayden and welcome him with open arms. So yeah, thank you, Aussie Star Wars nerd. That helmet is definitely my prize in the Star Wars collection. So as I mentioned, there's a picture that I have of D. Bradley Baker signing that helmet. And at this moment, I'm shaking. I'm like losing all of my marbles, we'll just say, to keep it PG, because this is the voice of all the clones and a guy that, I had a lot of fun watching him do his thing for a number of seasons, and even in Avatar. I was watching that recently, and he's obviously the voice of Appa. So the guy's just the man. But for me, the moment here was when we got to see Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen. As I mentioned, you don't really appreciate Hayden for what he brought to Star Wars when he was doing the prequels. I feel like obviously he didn't get a lot of love and maybe a little bit of hate. And so getting him to be able to come back into the fold, into the fan base, and get a lot of love, I thought was just such a cool moment. And so got a little bit of a moment here where we will watch that scene right here. So let's scroll down. Hello there. We are back. We'll share that. So here we go.
Hello there. Hello there, Star Wars Celebration.
If you were lucky enough to be there, hats off to you. That's awesome. Definitely wish that I could have been there as well. That was a really cool moment. And again, just to have Hayden feel like he had the love and the support that he deserved was awesome to see. So let's go into next. Speaking of that, Obi-Wan Kenobi. I think one of the things that made Star Wars Celebration so fun was all of the anticipation for this show coming up. And you had all of the, theories where we're going to see flashbacks, where we're going to see Clone Wars scenes, who is going to, do this. And it was just like all of this buildup, all this hype, because it was, one of the biggest legacy characters, and it was one of the biggest shows, the most money behind it. Obviously, it didn't land as perfectly as we would have liked it to land, but there were obviously amazing moments that brought me to tears. The moment when you get that flashback and you get that de-aging technology with Hayden Christensen in that little scene where they're training Padawan to master, I thought that was incredible. You get Ewan McGregor in the finale. No spoilers, or I guess spoiler alert at this point, but he, drops the hello there. I thought that was super cool. I thought that was super fun. And then we get Liam Neeson in the finale as well. I did not expect that. Liam is always really close to the vest as to what projects he's working on as it relates to Star Wars. And so the fact that that didn't get leaked, I thought was pretty cool, and obviously made for an epic finale with those two. But for me, the biggest moment in that is obviously going to be the showdown, the battle, the second battle between Darth Vader and Obi-Wan Kenobi. So, jumping in a little bit ahead. So with that, we had, this scene right here that I think really, as, someone who grew up on the prequels, someone who loved watching the Clone Wars, this moment right here. Just
Failure, Obi-Wan. You didn't kill Anakin Skywalker. I did.
No, you didn't kill Anakin Skywalker. I did. Like, watching that, even now, I'm just like, oh, that was so cool. That was so fun. And I think that's something that, when you go back and look at the show Kenobi, I always try and just take the positive things. I always try and take the things that really add to ultimately the original trilogy and A New Hope. And that for me just makes that a much better movie because of the context that we get from Kenobi. So let's go back to what we had for the second one, which is going to be Tales of the Jedi. So this is a little bit of a dark horse. Some of you watching this might be like, yo, it's animated. To that, I would say yes, but Dave Filoni was behind it, and it had Ahsoka, and it had Count Dooku as a Jedi, which was awesome. So Tales of the Jedi, honorable mentions for me. Seeing Dooku with a blue lightsaber, still got the curved hilt. Obviously, you get to see Qui-Gon Jinn as his Padawan, and you get to see him and Mace Windu kind of having their little bit of a squabble. You see, the moment when Yaddle dies, and initially we didn't really know when that happened, and there's a lot of speculation, and this show put that to bed. And so you had really I don't want to say the fall necessarily, but you have the disillusionment of Count Dooku. You have him falling away from the Jedi Order, and then getting really seduced by the dark side. So I guess you could say it was the fall. In this episode right here, the Sith Lord really did that in. And then I also love the part where you see Ahsoka at the funeral of Padme. And that brought a lot of emotions, just knowing that Ahsoka was there. Again, I was listening to Ashley on the Rebel Force Radio podcast, and she said that when she was doing that, she was in tears because she didn't realize this. And being able to, in the Star Wars universe, be at Padme's funeral was a big deal for the character. But for me, what I love the most was the practice makes perfect episode, and just the entire concept that Anakin prepared her for what would ultimately become Order 66. And I made this little montage here. We'll get to Andor in a second. Made this little montage here where I basically, highlighted some of the things that overlapped from a sense of when she did, the training with the Phase 1 troopers. Then you see the Phase 2 troopers, and I overlaid it with the audio from when she came back from, being, I forget the specific planet, but when she got captured by the Trandoshans and was able to escape and connect back with Anakin. And she said, you
already did everything you could, everything you had to do. When I was out there, alone, all I had was your training and the lessons you taught me. And because of you, I did survive. And not only that, I was able to lead others to survive as well.
I don't know what to say.
I do. Thank you, Master.
Right. So even right there, you see that her
You're
using the same spin. You see her using the exact same techniques to survive Order 66 that she did in that training scene. And I think a lot of Star Wars fans would agree that season 7 of the Clone Wars was some of the best Star Wars ever made. And those final 4 episodes with Order 66 and with Ahsoka and with Jesse and Rex and Darth Maul was some of the best Star Wars, bar none. And so being able to have something provide context to that the same way, Andor provides context to Rogue One, the way Rogue One provides context to A New Hope. For me, that provided context to, Anakin, that provided context to Clone Wars, that provided context to specific episodes, specific seasons. And, that little 10-minute clip did a lot for me. Again, maybe a dark horse for some people, but that was definitely one of the highlights and one of the moments where, obviously I made a video about it. So it was definitely impacted by that content. But let's go with the finale. I already showed it a little bit, but we've got Andor. And I think this one was probably the dark horse going into the year. We were like, Andor, why is this being a show that is being produced? He was a side character. He was a supporting character to Jyn Erso in a movie that was a spinoff of A New Hope. And we got blown away. Tony Gilroy crushed it. Diego Luna crushed it. Stellan Skarsgård crushed it. And the cast crushed it. And so some of the big moments that I took away from this, the Eye of Aldhani. I thought that was visually stunning. We got to finally get some Star Wars elements in the show, which I think a lot of us have been starved for, being able to, hear the roar of the TIE fighter and see some blasters going off. And so that was an awesome episode. You have Marva's speech. I thought that was obviously epic. That entire finale just kind of brought everything back into a culminating, episode where everything that happened in the season ended back at Aldhani. And, wish we would have gotten the part where she said F the Empire, but she said fight the Empire. So we'll take what we can get. And then Andy Serkis right here, good old Smeagol, Golem, playing Kino Loy and giving his speech one way out. I thought that was obviously a highlight to the season as well. And as mentioned by Aussie Star Wars nerd, episode 10 and 12 of Andor was epic, was great. Those are some of his favorite moments. But right here, the monologue by Stellan Skarsgård by why am I spacing right now? Obviously, I know the guy's name, but you guys get the point. This moment right here, I thought was one of the coolest moments. So I'm going to share a little video that I did right here. Yeah, Luthen Rael, obviously. I feel like a total idiot. Let's stop screen share, and we'll share screen. We'll do one more little video so that you guys can catch this moment. This was a little monologue that I did, but you get
Calm. Kindness, kinship. Love. I've given up all chance at inner peace. I made my mind a sunless space. I share my dreams with ghosts. I wake up every day to an equation I wrote 15 years ago from which there's only one conclusion. I'm damned for what I do. My anger, my ego, my unwillingness to yield, my eagerness to fight, they set me on a path from which there's no escape. I yearn to be a savior against injustice without contemplating the cost. And by the time I look down, there's no longer any ground beneath my feet. What is my sacrifice? I'm condemned to use the tools of my enemy to defeat them. I burn my decency for someone else's future. I burn my life to make a sunrise that I know I'll never see. Now, the ego that started this fight will never have a mirror or an audience.
So yeah, you guys get the idea. That was obviously an epic monologue, epic speech. Luthen Rael bringing it home. Obviously giving way to a lot of theories that he is a Jedi. Whether he is, whether he's not, we got 2 years to find out and wait. But we'll click out of this one. Boom, boom, and go back here. All right, yep. So that was the winner right there. That was the biggest moment, I think, for me. Comment below. Again, let me know what you thought the biggest moment was. And look forward to a year in 2023 of more epic moments on this channel, more positivity. And obviously, we're not going to just say everything's great, because not everything's great. But you always want to focus on what you can control and not dwell and complain on the things that, not everything's going to be perfect. Not everything's going to be for everyone. I just look back to the fact that we are getting more Star Wars than we ever thought we would 10 years ago. So big fan. And yeah, I'll catch you guys next week on Wednesday. We'll do a live for the first 2 episodes of Bad Batch, season 2. So we'll make sure and get a couple more videos out so that you guys can get the backstory on those characters as well. But thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next Trooper Transmission. This is CT3939 signing out.